Let's move on. We got one more award to get to.
The big one.
It's the Big Daddy Award, the Hart. We're gonna get flamed for this. I think Matthews is gonna win it.
Okay, talk about it. Go.
Mike is all yours. I think, and I'll make another argument after this. I think Matthews is going to win it. I'm predicting Matthews to win it. 60 goals for the third time this millennium. Goal scoring is the hardest thing to do in this league. If you can score 60 goals in 70-something games, that's pretty impressive. And also now, I just talked all about stats. Anecdotally, when you watch the Leafs without Matthews, they're a different team. They don't have that X factor. Mitch Marner is a fantastic hockey player, but Matthews drives the boat for the Leafs. He is the guy. He does everything sort of. He drives play. He creates his own shot. He can score different ways. His defensive impacts have improved astronomically this year. And so I think for that reason, he's going to win the Hart. I think he deserves to win the Hart as well. I think there's other cases, strong cases to be made for other players, and I'll talk about that after. But I think Matthews is going to win it because he does the hardest thing in the world to do in this sport the best, and he's also very reliable in other aspects of the game.
I hope you're right. I agree with one of your two statements. I think Matthews is going to win the Hart. I don't think he deserves it. I'm going to go with Igor Shesterkin here.
That's the guy who I was going to make a case for as well.
Right? I mean, in the wise words of John Cooper, to your point, it is pretty hard to score 60 goals in this league, which is why I think Auston Matthews will probably win it. But when we look at who should win, like we said, the Hart is given to the most valuable to their team. And you are very correct in saying that Auston Matthews is instrumental to the Leafs' success. Very true. But when you talk about the most important to their team, if you take Igor Shesterkin off the New York Rangers, do you even think they make the playoffs?
They're a bubble team.
That's
they're
yeah. Do you think the Leafs make the playoffs without Matthews on the team?
In the East, yeah, because the gap is so big.
That's what I mean. I think to their team, Igor Shesterkin is just ridiculously important. When you sorry, did you want to say something?
Go.
When you look at Don Leshiznin's, sorry, I mispronounce it every time, goal score value, GSVA model, which basically tells you the number of wins a player adds to their team. If you take them off, they're going to have this many less wins. Matthews leads his team, obviously. He's instrumental to their team's success, but he's only 0.8 above Mitch Marner, which tells me that the gap between most important players on the Leafs, I mean, albeit a win is a win, but when you look at Igor Shesterkin, do you know the difference between his and the next best GSVA on that team?
Well, if 0.8 is tight, I'm going to say his has got to be like at least 2 or 3 or something.
7.4.
Oh, Jesus.
7.4. 7 less wins. That's 14 less points. They don't even make the playoffs without Igor Shesterkin on that team. So basically, to summarize, who I think will win, like you said, Matthews has been way flashier all year. I mean, and there is validity to him winning, but just most important to their team's success, if Georgiev starts on that team, good luck.
I mean, yeah, I think there are a couple of reasons why Igor likely won't win. I think he only played 53 games, right? So can you be the most valuable player to a team if you play 65% of the season? I think yeah. I think yes, but I'm looking at this the way the voters might look at it. Goalies in general don't get a lot of recognition in Hart voting. I think Price was the last goalie to win it. That was almost 10 years ago now. The Rangers were 16-11-2 without Igor, which is a solid record, but I went to look. 70% of those games were against either non-playoff teams or a wild card team. So they weren't playing the best teams when he wasn't in net. So obviously they're going to have a good record. They're not a terrible team. But I think the fact that goalies don't get respect, that he only played 65% of this season, and again, we talked about it, voters, maybe they don't do all the due diligence they need to. They're going to see that record without him, and they might think, he was good, but was he that good? I don't know.
Yeah, well, these are all reasons. These are all reasons in favor of why he won't win, why not he shouldn't win, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm giving reasons as to why he might not win, not that he doesn't deserve to win. I'm just thinking it through the voters' lens, but undoubtedly he was the best. I would agree. Like if you ask me who's the most valuable player to a team, I think it's him. He led the goalies in save percentage, goals saved above expected, wins above replacement, you name it. Keep going. He's at the top of all those stats. I just don't think he's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, so to break down what you were saying, number one, the 16-11, and you summarized that well. I mean, a backup goalie isn't supposed to play against the best teams, right? He'll play against like the back-to-backs against the worst team,
Yeah.
so that does make sense. Second of all, the only playing 65% of the games. I mean, that argument that you made is true if it was for a player, but for a goalie, I mean, that's pretty high, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were a couple goalies who got close to 60 or past 60. Like, I think Markstrom probably played a lot because Vladar is not Georgiev, and I mean, Markstrom was unreal. Freddie Anderson might get a little bit of love. I don't even know if he got nominated, but he played quite a bit this season, I think, too. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that typically goalies who don't play a lot of games don't get the love in the voting. Maybe this would be an outlier because he was so good in the games that he played. But I don't know. I don't know if voting has changed that much to warrant that sort of sway in voting. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the argument would be better. I mean, the percentage of games that a player plays in relation to the average amount played by a player on that team, then maybe Shesterkin would be more in line with the Matthews, right? But yeah, one of the reasons why I think Matthews shouldn't win compared to Shesterkin is like the replacement value, right? I mean, Matthews coming out of the lineup hurts the Leafs a lot. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, but I mean, there's a lot of guys on this team that scored 30 this year. Did Willie and Marner score 30? It was close, right?
I think they both passed 30.
Tavares, I mean, there's a lot of guys who scored 22, Bunting, McKayev, Riley, and that's not me saying all these guys can sum up to take over Matthews' loss. They can't. I'm just saying that the way that this award should be voted, which it never is, I think Shesterkin has to get it.